Hi, I'm Weiser Cornell, and this is Support for Stressful Times. I feel a lot of lightness in my heart right now to be with you right now. And sometimes I feel heaviness and stress in my body. And maybe you do too. Yes, some things in regard to the global pandemic are feeling somewhat better, but there's still a lot of uncertainty and misery that is connected to that, and many other things are going on to make these stressful times for a lot of us. So I'm here with you to share a few things I might be able to say to help, to support you, that we can also support each other by getting together here in these times from all over the world, evidently, given what's being written in the chat. Yeah, so let's pause a moment together right now. And the number one skill I can share with you, and I say number one because it's always first. And there are other skills that might feel like they bring more depth or more transformation, but the skill that always comes first is the skill of pausing. Let's pause. And pausing, yeah, what happens? I feel like as soon as I pause, I'm feeling, I sit back a little, my posture changes. I feel more of my body's contact on what I'm sitting on, or you might be standing or lying down, but I find I'm more aware of my body when I pause. And right now, that's really a good thing. I'm not in pain or discomfort. Although, if I were in pain or discomfort, it actually might be a good thing even then to become aware of how I'm feeling instead of trying to push it away. And we're not only becoming aware of pain, but also of more subtle sensations because our bodies speak to us all the time. All the time. Yeah, interestingly, now that I've paused, I feel something that's not perfectly wonderful here in my chest. So, are you feeling something in your body that's speaking to you about discomfort or stress or something like that? And you don't have to be. I have three principles or tips to share with you today. And they are be present, be compassionate, and be curious. So by pausing, we're making the first move toward being present. We're making the first move toward being aware of what's here. It might be a body feeling. It might be, I don't really feel it in my body, but it's kind of all over. Anxiety, perhaps. Pause and become aware. It's like a turn, it's a move that we make. Pausing today feels like drawing back a bow in preparation to shoot, to accomplish so much. Oh, David, that's more poetry from you. Uh-huh. Yeah, nice. Marguerite writes, I feel as if I'm bracing myself. Hmm. Yeah. Does anybody else feel that too? A kind of sense of bracing against or in preparation for what could it be? I, During this last year, I have often felt a kind of dread, a sense that something that I don't even know is potentially out there. And then right now there's this little feeling in my chest and I don't know what it is. And that's another thing that happens, right? Pause, we allow ourselves to sense. We may often feel something that we can't describe easily. And that's really wonderful. When I grew up, there was no room for having a feeling, a felt experience that you couldn't describe. You know, you had to, I'm feeling so and so, or you have to name it as soon as you feel it. And learning, focusing, and allowing the world of feelings to expand and blossom inside me, one of the most important discoveries I made was that I get to have feelings that I cannot describe. In fact, I really discovered something wonderful about the word something. My favorite word is the word something. And the word something allows us to feel something when we aren't ready to describe it, or to put it another way, when it is not ready to be described. So I feel like this place in my chest is not ready to be described. But it's still there. It's ready to be noticed and to be acknowledged. Maybe you've got something like that. I'm hearing from some people in the chat saying something in my body feels jittery. Yeah, jittery is a nice description. And Marina writes, it feels like a mesmerizing numbness going from the arms to the hands to the body. So sometimes we cannot describe what we're feeling. Sometimes we find fresh descriptions for what we're feeling that maybe take 2 or 3 words or images. Mesmerizing numbness is a phrase I might not have ever heard before, but it came from Marina to describe what she was feeling. Yeah, nice. Very good. So we're pausing and we're sensing. And that falls into the category of my first principle today, which is be present. Be present. And there are so many temptations that I feel all day long to distract myself, to not notice how I'm feeling, to push aside feelings that might be vaguely uneasy, but I could easily push it away. I don't have to feel that right now. I can do something else. Well, it's not the end of the world, right? If you need to do that. But what I've discovered is that the more I turn toward and acknowledge what I'm feeling, the more I'm able to do what I need to do. Being present takes less struggle, takes less energy than trying to push away what I feel. I feel something, I acknowledge it. I say, hello, I know you're there. And now, maybe even with one hand sort of metaphorically on my body or literally on my body, I go ahead with what I need to do. And I'm more present. Some of you may be therapists or coaches or people who see clients. When you go in to see a client, you push away your own feelings? Or do you use some percent of your attention for yourself? How am I right now? And have you noticed that if you do that, if you stay somewhat with yourself while you're with a client, you're more able to be present for that client. Well, that's true of all of us. When we're with a loved one, when we're with a friend, if we try to blank out ourselves so that we can be with another person. I used to do that. It felt like sort of how I was taught to be when I was growing up in the 50s as a person of the female gender. Uh, Best to put your own feelings aside so that you can completely concentrate on another person. I had to unlearn how to do that so that I could do this magic trick, this amazing ability that all of us have if we practice to be with ourselves and with other people. So much more present if we do that. So somebody asked, what do you do if you feel uncomfortable with the feelings that you're finding? It's a wonderful question. Because principle number 2 for today is be compassionate. So my first I've trained myself through practice that what I do first, whenever I find a feeling in my body, whether it's enjoyable or whether it's contractive, is to be compassionate toward it. If you had a loved one, right? I'm sure you have loved ones, but if you were with a loved one and that loved one was feeling some kind of pain or suffering, I believe that the first response you'd feel is compassion. Oh, oh, sweetie. Yeah. And our bodies are our best friends. So, what if you feel something painful in your body, something contractive, something uncomfortable, and you bring compassion to that place? Wow, something's difficult, something's feeling painful, something's feeling hard. Huh. And this hand that you see me touching my chest with is another way to show compassion. So if you feel a place in your body where something is painful, you can let a gentle hand go there, as if with your hand you're saying, and I am with you now. So number 1, be present. Number 2, be compassionate. And what if I can't be compassionate? What if I am scared of the feelings that I'm having right now? What if I am scared of them, so I can't be compassionate to them? I feel like they're going to get too big. They're going to take me over, sweep me away, knock me down. Okay. Well, that's when you see if you can be compassionate to that. Okay. So here's my feeling. And I see if I can be compassionate to it. But then maybe I can't. Maybe I feel scared of it. It might get too big. In that case, I'm going to see if I can be compassionate to something in me that feels scared of these feelings. And there's some kind of nice language that helps us do that. So the language is, I am sensing something in me feels. I am sensing something in me feels. So I am sensing something in me feels stressed, burdened, like everything's too hard. And I'm pushing through, but there's no real rest. Well, that's a way I have felt recently. By acknowledging that, I get a little relief. The relief probably comes from not having to push it away. The way we really feel loves to be acknowledged. Do you want to try that? Noticing how you're feeling right now, or how something in you is feeling right now, and saying, I hear you. I get how that is. Notice what happens. And if there's a feeling of I don't want to, I can't do that, I'd be overwhelmed, I'm scared, then we'll say hello to that. And using that same language, I'm sensing something in me is scared to acknowledge this other feeling, and I'm saying hello to that. Yes, 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 yes. So I was saying that I have 3 principles for you today. Number 1, be present. And that starts with pausing. Number 2, be compassionate. And if you can't be compassionate to something that you feel, then see if you can be compassionate to the not being able to be compassionate. So there's always something I can be compassionate to. And then compassion spreads from there. And we can use a gentle hand to help with that compassion. Number 3 is be curious. So be present, be compassionate, be curious. Curious means what I'm feeling here, I know there's more to it than first presents itself. I also know that this feeling is not trying to hurt me. It's not trying to hurt me. It's painful, uncomfortable, tight, tense for some good reason. And not in order to be my enemy. Yeah, we can be sure of that. There are no enemies inside. So this feeling is the way it is for some good reason, and I can be curious. And being curious is not the same as peppering it with questions. What do you feel this way? Why do you, right? You knew I was going to say that. We're not going to question it. It's like we hold a curiosity. Hold a curiosity. Na writes, it doesn't want to show up. It's hiding from me. Oh, what a nice question. Well, if you can sense that you have a feeling that doesn't want to show up because it's hiding, that's already a lot of information. That's really great. It's already revealing a lot about itself by revealing that it's hiding and doesn't feel safe yet to really appear and to come into awareness. Yes. So you get to talk to parts of yourself, feelings that are not yet here. You can say, wherever you may be right now, I trust you're where you need to be, and I'm here when you're ready. Wherever you are, I trust you're where you need to be, and I'm here when you're ready. So we're treating these parts of ourselves, these feelingful parts of ourselves, as if they might be shy animals. Shy animals that need some kind of contact before they even come out. Can you imagine uh, bringing home an animal that you got from a rescue society, and that animal maybe a dog had a difficult earlier life. You bring it home, and right away it runs under the porch. It runs, so it's it's now all you see is these little eyes peeking out, or maybe not even that. How do you get that animal out from under the porch? Well, I don't know what might be practical in real life, but in the inner world of imagination, I would say sit down. Just sit down. When it's ready, it will come to you. Yeah. Maria writes, I feel like crying and I don't know why. Yeah. Well, good for you, Maria, for being aware that you feel like crying and for sharing it here. Thank you for your openness. And is it okay to not know why? Yeah. To be present. So be present, be compassionate, and be curious. Be present with the feeling of wanting to cry, the crying. Be present with the crying place. And be compassionate, because we know that that feeling of wanting to cry is here for some good reason. And these are stressful times. But we don't have to give it reasons and say, it must be this, it must be that. No, let's just be with it with compassion, with presence. That's right. Jennifer writes, it seems pretty complicated, lots of feelings. A part of me is hopeful, and another part is despairing. A part of me is tired, another part energized. Thank you, Jennifer, for speaking up for that. Yeah, often we don't have only one feeling. We have a lot of them, and they feel kind of contradictory. Yeah. So that means we get to be the big space where all the different feelings can be the way they are. I am the space where all my feelings can be the way they are. By the way, my good news is I got my second vaccination last Saturday. My best friend and I are already making plans to meet in person because same thing has happened to her. So there's more lightness in my body. But that didn't make everything suddenly feel great. I still have these feelings of dread and uneasiness, and there's still a lot out there, not just about the pandemic, but for many reasons, that's related to these feelings of heaviness in my body. So I don't have to choose. I love this. I don't have to choose which of my feelings is more true or real. I can have them all. I'm big enough for that. And that is especially works well if you treat enjoyable feelings and stressful feelings a little differently. Sometimes it's controversial when I say this, but let's see how y'all will like this. So Jennifer was saying a part of me is hopeful and another part of me is despairing. Part of me is tired, another part energized. And for me, now that I've had my 2 vaccinations, and so has my partner, I feel lightness from that, a sense of uplift, a sense of possibility. And I hadn't even noticed that that wasn't there. Interesting. So what I do with the enjoyable feelings, do you have something like that too? Do you have something hopeful, enjoyable, positive, like an uplifting feeling? Let's pause and enjoy that and let it be there as fully as it wants to be. peacefulness, how it feels to be here with this community, talking to each other, with me. Something might be feeling more peaceful in you now. Let's enjoy it. Savor it. Let it come in. Really have it. And now, you could take even longer with that if you want to, but now this enjoyable feeling gives you more of yourself to turn with compassion toward the places that are having a hard time. Heaviness, feelings of loss and grief, feelings of anger, feelings of tension and anxiety. They're all welcome. So we cultivate our enjoyable feelings, and that gives us more resources to turn toward the other feelings that need more care, that need more attention, with, with caring and company. So our 3 principles for today: be present, be compassionate, be curious. Make room for what doesn't feel so great by cultivating the enjoyment of what does feel great. It's not an either or, it's a both and. And let's take another moment just to pause together before we finish our time today. I'm going to talk soon about grief and grieving. That's going to be perhaps our next topic, because grief and loss is with us. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for your responses to each other. Thank you for the sense of connection. Bye for now. Mwah.